please remember to change your name to English so that you can participate in the class. So remember to change your title to English, your name. I still see some that are in Korean. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Okay. I think we'll wait for one more minute to make a screenshot. So make sure you turn on your cameras so that I can take a screenshot for attendance, okay? Thank you, guys. Are you looking forward to the weekend? Park, what are you gonna do this weekend? Do you have any plans?
I don't have a plan.
Plans like, are you going to hang out with your friends, your family? Are you going somewhere this weekend? Anywhere? No plans?
Yes, no plan.
Do you need to study? Yeah, really?
No, I already, last week I go to ROTC.
Where's that? Is that like a place? Where's this
so
place? Oh, in
I
Seoul.
need to prepare this training.
Oh, okay. So you spend time to prepare for this.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Well, good morning, everyone. So I'm going to take a screenshot right now. So to make sure that you guys are all here. Okay. Okay, great. So today we're going to be talking about job interviews. So job interviews, super important if you are going to apply for a job. So before we talked about, on the first day, we talked about our resume, right? So after we write our resume and then send it to many companies, some companies will be interested in us. And then the next step is usually a job interview. So I think now job interviews are a little bit different than before. Before we would have to go to the office, but now I think a lot are virtual. So they ask you to do an online interview because of COVID. So here, before we begin, can you guys type in the chat on, have you been to a job interview before? So this is question 1. Okay, so let me know. Have you guys been to a job interview before? So you can say yes or no. And then number 2 is, how do you feel about job interviews? So do you feel very confident? Very confident, so you have no problem with job interviews? Or do you feel a little bit nervous or even scared? So can you guys type into the chat and tell me the first question? Have you been to a job interview before? Yes or no? Or also answer the second question. Okay, so let's type it into the chat. Okay. Oh, okay. So some of you have been to the job interview before? Okay, I see many of you have, some haven't. Okay, that's great. So what do you need to do before a job interview? Okay, so this is the next question. A, do you need to research about the company? B, spend time with your friends? C, talk to your teacher? Or D, you don't need to do anything? Okay, so one more time again to type it into the chat box. Okay. So I'm just going to choose one of you to answer this question. So Lee, what do you think about this? Which one of these A, B, C, D would you do? Okay.
A.
A, okay, great. So A is what? What's the answer for A? A is to research about the company. Right. Great. Okay, so most of you got it. That's great. Okay, so how to prepare for a job interview. Okay, so here, let's take a look at how you can prepare for it, because it's really important that you do prepare for it. So make sure you need to research the company first, right? And not do nothing. Okay, so the first one is to research about the company. Okay, so how are you going to do that? We're going to talk about this today. The second one is to be prepared. Okay, to be prepared. What does it mean to be prepared? Park, what do you think means to be prepared for a job interview? What can you do?
Search the company.
Okay, you can research about the company. What else? What do you usually wear? What did you wear to your job interview?
Home,
Clothing. What did you wear?
clothing.
Your clothing.
I think formal look.
So usually we will maybe have a tie, right? You will have a tie here. Or your shirt, right? A white collar shirt, right?
Mhm.
So
Right.
very formal. So not just t-shirt, right? You don't want to wear your t-shirt to interview. Okay, great. So be prepared. And then also something that is very important is to act confident, right? You don't want to be like, oh, you seem very nervous and you're sweating, or maybe your face is not smiling, right? So make sure you smile and to act confident, right? You want to sit up. You don't want to slouch, right? You want to sit upright and then to be able to answer the questions and make them feel that you're very confident and prepared. Okay, the next one is show that you are motivated. Motivated. Okay, what does that mean? So when you're there, you're like, ah, right, I love this company. I want to be here. I want to join your team, right? It's not like, I don't really care. I don't want to answer your questions like that. Okay, so it's your type of attitude that is really important. Okay. So what is it that you have to do when you research the company? So when you're preparing for an interview, always take the time to research the company you are applying for. So if you want to go to Google, then you should also research about Google first. Okay, if you want to go to, say, Facebook, you should also Google about Facebook and know about what the company values are, right? What is important to the company? Do you fit in? Sometimes maybe you even do research and find that, oh, these are not my core values, right? Because your core values should match with the company. So find out about the company's history, okay? So maybe you Google about the company first, and then usually they will have some information on the website. Their culture, right? So again, about the values. A lot of companies will write our core values are, and then why they have this company and why people should buy their products, right? A lot of the times when I see a lot of vegan products, they say that, oh, because we want to help the environment, right? That's a big thing now. Okay, main goals and values, so same thing, culture. Culture also includes, do they work overtime all the time, right? Maybe if you can find someone who works there, it's also a good way to ask about the company because a lot of the things are not written or are not available online. The next part we see here. Okay, so if you want to work for Apple, where can you find relevant information? Okay, so what can you do if you want to apply to Apple? Can you tell me in the chat here, what are some of your ideas? Where can you find the information? Are you going to go to an Apple store and ask them? Are you going to call maybe customer service? Where can you find relevant information? Okay, right. So most of the people are going to be looking for information online. Okay, most of them are going to be looking for information online here. So what type of, where can we look for these information? So here, if you want to work for Apple, you can find relevant information on, right? The first one is obviously their official website, right? They will usually have a website, and on it, there will be information about their values, information about if you have any questions about maybe their products, they will have the products and service and introduction there. So it's a good idea to go through them, but if there's too many products that they have, then it's best to just click on About Us. Okay. So here, Wikipedia, right? This is something that probably everyone has done before, to just look it up on Wikipedia. And usually if you Google it, it will come up to one of the first Google searches. So here you can take a look at the official website. So this is an example of Apple. So here when you Google and find their official website, usually this is one of their I guess table of contents. You'll find that they will have about Apple here. So usually here they will be talking about having their news here. So it's called a newsroom, where they collect all of the articles they can find online in the newsroom and to have a collection of them. Okay, Apple leadership, career opportunities. So here, some of the times, like in Taiwan, there'll be a site, or I believe there's a site called Indeed.com. So that is for a lot of global positions. A lot of international companies, they will post their career opportunities on Indeed.com. So that's something that I shared with you guys a couple of days ago when we were talking about resume. So it's called Indeed. And so also, if you are very interested in a specific company, then what you can do is also to go onto their official website to see what type of job opportunities are available. Okay, great. So I think it's best to start off with these two first. So these are very basic. So be prepared. Okay, so how can you be prepared? Think about the most common interview questions. Okay, so this is a key. One of the key things is to prepare for these questions, because when you know what to say, then you can know how to answer them, right? Because if you have never thought about it before, it's really hard for you to think on the spot. So when they say, hey, Park, what are your strengths, right? So you'll be like, I haven't thought about it. That would not be a really good answer. Okay, so today we're going to practice of some of the most common interview questions in class. I think it's a really good idea for you guys to practice with each other. Okay, to practice answering the questions. So same thing, to be prepared to know what the questions are, and then to practice with someone. Think of specific examples you could use to highlight your skills. So this one, for example, if you are good at leadership. Why? Because maybe you are on the basketball team and you are a team captain, right? So this is something that you can write about, what you do to maybe you lead drills, maybe you're in charge of organizing some events for other teams to join you. Maybe you can organize a tournament. That's something you guys do, right? So this would show that you have leadership skills and also organizational skills. Okay, so sometimes you just need to think a little bit about what you do. So for example, when we were talking about resumes, someone said, oh, they worked in a convenience store and they said, I have no achievements. I'm like, no, you do have a lot of achievements. What did you do? Maybe you were there to count money, right? Maybe you have to write down every day how much there is in the cashier box, right? So that's one thing you did. Maybe another thing is you helped to put things on the shelf. Okay, that's called restocking. What did you learn about that? Maybe you learned that, oh, how to organize things, how to put it so that customers want to buy it. That's a good skill too, right? So you need to think a little bit about the things you do. Maybe you think it's very basic, but actually it's not so basic, okay? So here, what is your favorite Apple product? So here are some questions that people shared online about the questions they were asked when they were at Apple's interview. So these are very valuable. A lot of times when you want to prepare for interview, it's not just to look at common questions. A lot of the times you can just Google and ask, what are some Apple interview questions? Or what are some questions that are commonly asked at Apple? And a lot of the times you will see people are willing to share online about this. So I think this is very, very valuable, right? You want to know about what exactly are the questions. Like you want to know, maybe you can ask about how some people answer these questions too. Okay. So what is your favorite Apple product? Okay. So maybe you want to think about, maybe you're an Apple user. So it'll be very important for you. And a lot of times I think it's a really good idea that even if you are not a user of the product, you try it. And you can even share about why you don't like it and why you use their competitors. This is very valuable for companies because they want to know you are the type of customers they want to get, right? There may be 20%, right, of people who don't use these products, but why? I want to know why. And I want to know how you can improve. How can you improve this product so that you want to buy it instead of the other consumers, the competitors. So why do you want to work at Apple? So this is a very common question, right? Why do you want to work at this and this company? Why do you want to work at Apple? It could be because I love your products, or I'm an Apple fan, right? That is a really good reason. And telling them about the products that you have used before and why you love it so much. Okay. Another question. Tell me about a time you succeeded when someone else failed. Okay. Also a very common question. They want to know about, maybe you on your resume, you say, I did this, I did this, I did this. All very good, right? They're all very successful. Okay, so you're here in the interview. I want to know something else, not on your resume. So that's also a very good key point you need to remember. When you go to a job interview, they want to know about you, not your resume. Don't read your resume. I have it here. I can read. Tell me something that's not here. Okay, you can tell me that, oh, you're a very energetic person. You're very enthusiastic. You're very passionate about, I would say, I'm passionate about surfing. I'm passionate about teaching. I'm passionate about nature or the environment, and tell them how and why you are, how you can show your passion, right? I surf every morning. I moved to Taidong. So there's a lot of things that you can show with your example. And it's very important you try to use very relevant information. So don't tell me something like, oh, I wake up early in the morning, right, to read. When you tell me about, you're very enthusiastic about health, right? You exercise a lot, right? You can say, I wake up very early. I wake up 5 a.m. every morning to jog for 1 hour, to go to the gym for 1 hour. So something like that is to show me things that are more relevant to what you're saying. Great. So here, the fourth question is, tell me about a time you were asked by a customer for something unexpected or unrealistic. Okay. So maybe your customer said something about, like, I need you to finish this project within this week, right? But the project is due in a month. You have 30 days, not 7 days. What are you talking about? How is it possible, right? What are you going to do about this? What they want to know is, no, not to have something to give the customer within 7 days, because it's impossible. But how do you handle this situation? What do you tell the customer? How do you make them feel, oh, 7 days is unrealistic? It's impossible, right? How do you communicate? This is actually asking about your communicational skills. So sometimes you can also think about, why are they asking you this question, right? So the third one here, they wanted to ask you about a time that you succeeded while someone else failed. So why were you successful, and why did someone else fail? What did you do differently, right? I want to know, what is that makes you so special, and that I want to hire you and not hire this person, right? They could also ask you, a common question is, when is the time you failed and what did you do, right? So when you failed a project, what did you do about it? How did you improve? Or how did you try to fix the problem? So these are things that you can think about, because when you come up with an example, the example should match this, okay? To show me that, oh, right, even though you failed, what did you do to improve maybe next time? Or what did you do to try to compensate for it? Okay, so the fifth question here is, tell me about a time that you had to learn something new very quickly. Okay, so I believe in Apple, things are very fast paced, right? They need to come up with things very fast, new products, right? So when they ask you about how do you learn something very quickly, they want to know about, are you someone who can learn something really quickly? And how do you do it? Do you have a very good method? Or is it just luck? Or do you have your own method and procedure that you can do that? Okay, so let me know if you have any questions. You can ask in the chat box, okay? I'm going too fast for you. And also you can let me know if you would like the lesson, right? Park asked me a couple of times, so I've been emailing him this lesson for the past couple of days, not just this one. So the one yesterday, the one before that. Okay, so don't be shy, just ask me in the chat. Okay, so act confident. What does that mean? Okay, the first part is obviously you want to be polite and formal. Keep eye contact, right? You want to look at the person, keep eye contact and believe in yourself. Okay, I think this is maybe something that's hard for some people to do. Believe in yourself. Okay, so how can you do that? Be ready to talk about your best qualities, right? Think of it as you're marketing yourself to the company. You want them to want you, right? So obviously you want to tell them how great you are, right? Don't be shy about it. What are your best qualities, right? I'm a great communicator. How are you a communicator, right? Maybe you're a project lead. You were a leader for a project and this project was very successful. And because of you, you communicated with everyone on the team. Okay, great. Another thing is, okay, here you tell me all your best qualities. You're a great leader, you're a great communicator, you have all these qualities, and you want to do connect with the company. So if you want to join Apple, tell them how you can contribute. How can these skills fit this job position and this company, right? What can you give to the company? This is something that the company wants to know. Okay, you're great, but do I need you for this A position? Okay. So if you're telling me you're a great leader, but you don't really need to be a good leader, maybe you just need to work by yourself as a specialist, then maybe a leadership is not really one of the best qualities that I'm looking for. If I'm looking for a manager and you don't have leadership, I don't think you're a good fit for this position either, right? Like, think about being a manager. What do you need? Of course, you need leadership. Of course, you need communicational skills. You need to be able to communicate with your team members. But don't worry, if you don't have these experience, think about how I can, from maybe a specialist to someone who is a manager. If you want to be a manager, how can I get some leadership skills? Maybe you can just form a club, right? You're a leader of the club, leader of any club, leader of any team. Then you can show what you do. Okay. Don't be shy to talk about what you have accomplished in your career, right? Don't be shy. Don't be like, that's nothing. No, that's something, right? It's nothing. I just work in a convenience store. No, you help out with the operation day to day at the convenience store. If there's no you, maybe I want to buy water. I want to buy beer. There's no beer, no water, right? I need you. Okay. So it's not something that's so small. Just try to think about why it matters. Also, don't be afraid to mention a few weaknesses, but I would also be very, very careful about weaknesses. Okay, this is a little bit tricky. Sometimes when you want to talk about your weakness and be very honest, sometimes it backfires or it's going to hurt you. Okay, so give you an example. If I say that, you want to be a manager and you're talking about times when you're a bad communicator, that might not be a good idea because I need you to be a good communicator. Okay. Another example, maybe if you're an engineer, you might not need to lead a team. So you might be working by yourself. So when you tell me, you say, I don't like to speak in front of public. I'm very bad at public speaking. So maybe to me, it's like, it's not very important because I don't need you in this job to be a public speaker. Maybe if you are the manager of all the engineers, I do, but this position is not a manager position. It is an engineer position. So it doesn't matter. But you can also tell me, hey, I'm bad at public speaking, but what did I do about this? I took some courses in public speaking because I want to improve. Okay, so these are the type of things that you can say. So say weaknesses that don't matter to your job position. Maybe it's not a skill that I'm looking for, but it's a weakness. It is okay. Okay, so think about that. A lot of the times when they ask you about what is your weakness, what are you bad about, you need to think about that is my weakness, but what? But what you can do, what you did about it. Okay, so here it's usually talking me, I want to know about what you did about it. So even though it is a weakness, I try to improve. Okay, I'm really bad with my Chinese, but I listen to Chinese podcasts every morning. I started to go and take Chinese lessons every week. Okay, so here you see weakness. I know my weakness, but I try to do something about it. I try to improve. Okay, great. So the next part here, we're going to talk about show that you are motivated. What does it mean to be motivated? Right, we want some passion here. Okay, so make sure you know why you're applying for that specific company. If you're very, very excited about this interview, they can see, right? If you're just like, oh, I don't care. I don't really care if I'm in this company. I don't really care if I get this job. They're going to see this attitude as well. And I don't think that people would want you in their company if you just don't care, right? Show them why you want to be here. I really love your products. I really love your company. And I really want to be here with you. Okay. So make sure that they see that. No company wants an employee who can work anywhere, right? Like, if you don't like me, I just go work for another company, right? I just go work for another mobile company or another tech company. It doesn't really matter, right? So key point here is your attitude. Show them you're excited. Show them you're passionate. Show them you're enthusiastic. Okay, you want to show that, right? Don't be shy about it, because these are the people that they will be like, oh, I want to work with you. You seem like, I love your attitude. I want to work with you. Okay. So that's something for you to think about. So a lot of times it's how the company feels about you, right? How do you want to present yourself? You could be a little bit nervous. It's always fine. But are you ready for the interview? Are you passionate about this company? If you don't even know the product and the company asks you, so what is our product? And you can't even answer this question, they're going to be like, first, you didn't do your homework. Second, I don't think you really want to be here. And third, I don't really want to work with you if you don't really know anything about us and you're not prepared, right? Think about how it would be if you were not prepared for a business meeting, right? Of course, you're going to be prepared. So treat it like something that is very important to you, and they will see that. Okay, great. So the next part here are some useful expressions. So what are some useful expressions that you can use to during the job interviews. So let me introduce myself. Hi, let me introduce myself. Good morning, let me introduce myself. Good afternoon, let me introduce myself. So don't forget to have a greeting, right? And it's best even if you mention their names. Good morning, Mr. Anderson. I'm really happy to be here. Let me introduce myself. Hi, Mr. Anderson. I'm so glad to be here. I'm so excited to be here. Let me introduce myself. Okay, so you want to let them know more about you. Okay. So you can try this. Let me introduce myself. Okay, so it's best if you add a greeting if it is something you're going to say at the very beginning when you start your interview. Okay, the second one that's very useful, I think, is the reason why I chose this company is. The reason why I chose this company is because I really love your products. I am really a fan of your company. Okay. And sometimes it may be even the company culture. Okay. It could be the company culture. What do I mean by this? Maybe you see your friend working at this company, maybe Facebook. They're always very outgoing, they're very passionate, they're very lively. So you can see they have fun at work. It's okay to have fun at work as long as you finish your job. You can also say, the reason I chose this company is because of the company culture. And you can tell them more specifically, or about your company's values are related to mine, or they match mine, and I love it. So I remember one of my company values in my previous job at Between. One thing I remember was that they say, it's okay to make mistakes, but you need to improve and iterate fast. So I think this is something that's very, very uncommon, because usually at a company, they don't want you to make mistakes. It's not okay to make mistakes, but startup companies are smaller and they're more, their whole structure is more like horizontal, which means that there's not too many levels. What I can do is I can just talk to my CEO. I don't need to go through many manager after manager after manager. Okay, so that is one of the company culture. And they also, they have a very, very active and lively culture there. So you can see that people in the company are quite relatively young, at a younger age. So you can feel that, oh, they have a lot of different events that they host, and then the whole company is very young, so with a lot of new ideas and always changing. So it's a really good place for, I guess, younger people to be, because they enjoy this. Okay, so you can say that. Or if you know more about the company, this is where you can tell the interviewer about it. Okay. So this requires you to do research. Okay, again, research the company, very important. Okay, so here, another useful expression is my main strengths are. My main strengths are. So here, maybe you can I always encourage my student to think at least 3. What are your 3 strengths? Okay, right. First one, maybe like, I have very good leadership skills. Okay, I'm a great leader. Leadership skills, right? If you're looking to be a manager. I'm a really good communicator. So communicational skills, right? So these are all different things. But don't forget that you will always need to have an example. Okay, so leadership skills. So you can't just say, hey, I have great leadership skills and communicational skills. Finish. No, you can't say that. Okay. You need to show me something about your leadership skills. So what I would do is I would always have an example. My main strengths are leadership and communicational skills. I used to be on the basketball team and I was the captain. I was the team captain and I led my team through many drills. I also led my team towards, and we won this and this tournament, or we won the championship, city championship. Okay, #1 in Seoul, something like that, right? So here you can show that you have good leadership skills, right? And communicational skills. Okay, or you can even have separate examples. I have very good communicational skills usually when I am doing projects at school. I'm usually the one that my friends choose as the leader of the group, right? And I'm responsible to divide the work. So you will say, hey, you do this, you do this, you do this, okay? And I'm always the one who helps everyone put together the project, right? So here you represent that you can talk to many people and then put something together as one. So this is very important if you're at any job, if you're a project manager or even a product manager. This is very useful. Okay. Next one here. Okay, we have a list of strengths. So here are some that are for you to take a look. You can even think and use this. This is very useful, okay? Because you're always going to be asked this question at any job interviews. What are your strengths? Even if you're not asked this question, you can use this for your introduction, right? Get to know about me. Let me introduce myself. I'm Cindy, and I'm someone who's very flexible. I use flexible, determined, and organized. Okay, so why do I choose these 3 strengths? Okay, I choose these 3 strengths maybe because I want to be a product manager, and product manager needs to be organized, right? He needs to be organized and be able to set the time slot for engineers. They need to finish this by some time. They need to know when people need to have something in their schedule. Okay, and maybe I would choose determination because I would be very determined to have this product or project finished during this time. So I would try my best to have it done. Okay, flexibility. So sometimes, even if you want to have it done, you have some we call buffer time. So maybe I will say, okay, I need to have this due. The latest is Monday, but I tell you, okay, I need it on Friday. But then on Friday, you say, oh my God, Cindy, I'm sorry. I can't get it to you today. Can you give it to me on Monday? And I'm like, right. I left a buffer time. Monday is the latest. Okay. Or sometimes when I talk about flexibility is maybe I don't need you to do this. I don't need you to do A, but B is also okay. So I have some flexibility on having different methods. Okay. So if I was to be a project manager, actually, I would also want to talk about leadership because I know that the interviewer is looking for someone with a leadership. Okay. So another tip I want to give you is very important. Think about what the interviewer is looking for. Okay, so here, if I want to interview, I know that for a project manager, I need someone who is a good manager. So he can lead he or she can lead this team, leadership skills, right? He or she needs to be very organized because they can't say, oh my God, it's due today, I forgot, right? It's not being very organized. Okay, so organized or even time management is very key. Okay, and I want someone who is a good communicator. So communicator, you can see that I keep on saying communicational skills, very, very important in the workforce. Unless you are maybe an engineer, you don't need to talk to anyone. They just say, hey, you do this job, right? There's no communicating. They tell you what to do and you do it. You don't need to say anything back. Then if you don't need to work in a team, then maybe, okay, you don't need to communicate. But believe me, in any job, I would say 99% you need to communicate. You need to talk to someone. So before the break, just want to emphasize again, think as an interviewer when you are thinking about your self-introduction, about what you want to say, and answer these questions. Very key point is, what is the interviewer looking for? So how do you know what they're looking for? Okay. What I mean is you look at the job description, right? Or the job position. Read it. Okay. Read it many times. Sometimes I would even take those and put them in my resume and say, hey, I have leadership skills here, and then give my own example to show you have good leadership. Okay. Another key point. A lot of the times, a lot of students say, hey, my resume, I'm going to give my resume to all the companies. Okay, it's okay if you are giving it for the same job position, but if you are going to be a marketing manager, it's not the same as giving it to, say, a marketing specialist. Okay, because a manager role and a specialist role are different. You can't just give the same resume because it's not showing me your skills for this specific position. So maybe you have 2 or 3 different resumes that you can give to manager. Okay, marketing manager of Apple, marketing manager of Google, marketing manager of XXX company. Then you will do that. But don't give it to marketing manager Apple, marketing specialist Apple, marketing or engineer team Apple, right? You don't want to do that for the different job position. So very key point here to really go through and read the job description. And you can take some of it, right? They say, I would like, I need someone to plan and to run this marketing campaign. Good. Okay, maybe you have this experience. You can take it here and say, I have planned and ran a marketing campaign on selling, maybe for when I was interning in Nike, for the Nike running shoes. And then what you did, how you helped. So maybe you didn't plan it. You can say you assisted, right? Or you helped with this. And what was the result? What was the result? And have numbers. We need numbers here. Okay. Okay, great. So I think that's a lot for you to think about before the break here. And I'm going to be talking about some other useful expressions for the next lesson. So let's take a break now and then we'll come back. Okay. Thanks, guys.